this past year has been tough. I've been through 5 years with him of, you know, differing levels of just craziness. Like I joined, you know, 6 months prior to Tokyo. I was with him through Tokyo. You know what I'm saying? Which arguably is like the apex of all shit, right?
Yeah,
like in terms of controversy for the internet in general, let alone just him, right? So I was with him through that. I saw that. I was with him through, you know, various other allegations, various other, you know, things. And this past year's been tough because one, I've been roped into a lot of them, which I had nothing to do with, you know what I'm saying? Which has been fucking annoying. Like between the crypto shit, between now this, where I got Dylan resharing pictures of my fucking girl who's doesn't do anything. She's the sweetest person. Like, and she's getting text messages from people like, yo, why is, she doesn't care obviously. Cause she's like, dude, I've never, like I took a picture with this guy at the club. What the fuck do you want from me? You know?
Yeah.
But between all that and then all the way back to like really with like George and shit, you know? And like, it's just been a long year, where I've had to really question my own desire to be attached to something that's so flammable. Cause I know him. I love the kid, bro. I really do. And he is not perfect.
But there's been moments where you thought like, maybe this isn't worth it. Maybe I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
Honestly, not really. No, not really. Not moments where I was like, no, I don't want to do, because I love doing the show. We love doing the show. You know what I'm saying? But like you at least have to be able to empathize with what it's like to always be, you know, next to that flame. Right. You know what I'm saying? And there's good and bad that comes with it. And you know, there have been times where I felt like maybe I think, you know, the good of it at this point has kind of maybe like from a brand's perspective has kind of been bled out. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever personal branding, you know, and personal growth I'm going to get out of that relationship has been done probably for years now.
But you don't want to be the kind of friend who rides with somebody during the part of their career where it helps you and then you're kind of out of there once it stops being beneficial to you, right?
It's not that I don't want to. I can't. Right, I don't have that in my body.
Because you see it constantly in the creator space and it's fucking lame as fuck, right?
For sure. Nor do I believe that to necessarily be the case long term. Because he's a fucking, he's not going anywhere, bro.
I don't care if he's scammed 50,000 people and if his girl fucked the whole football team. It does not matter. He's Logan Paul at the end of the day. He's still going to be able to do whatever the fuck he wants. It's blatantly obvious to me that all this shit might be big controversies. It doesn't matter. He's still Logan Paul and you're still Mike. And like certain people, when you get to a certain stage in your career, it just doesn't matter. And that's not, that is so obvious to me with Logan that he's going to be fine. Yeah. That it's like, I can't even consider the idea that any of this stuff affects him in the long term.
He's just, I mean, he's even not even like in thinking phase. And his thinking phases now like are going to look different than they used to because like right now he's in execution phase. Fight WWE, Prime, right? He's going to exit from Prime. He's going to make billions of dollars, literally. And then he's going to go back into thinking stage, right? The difference now is when he goes back into thinking stage, he's going to do it a little bit more responsibly. I think the biggest issue is he was just chewing on heavy shit that he couldn't execute on. And that's unfortunate, but not morally reprehensible in the way that it's been pushed out. The narrative's been pushed out. I've been a part of every single thing, you know, up until he kind of moved away and now I don't see as much of it anymore. But you know, there was never a time where anything was done out of a desire to quickly get money or to malignantly like or you know, maliciously hurt someone.
Right.
And once in the light, everything will look, people will be very surprised how pretty things look when they understand all of these things.
Because now that the NFT shit thing doesn't seem as hot as it was, it's just a lot easier to look at it and be like, oh, you willingly scammed your fans. you're forgetting that everybody from FaZe Banks to Rice Gum to like everybody who was big in the creator space, I'm sitting there feeling like a fucking idiot because I waited to buy a CryptoPunk. And yes, I ended up losing like 70 grand or whatever on the CryptoPunk that we bought. But I mean, at the time, that did not seem obvious at all, you know?
Yeah. No, that space has just been a mess and has caused a lot of trouble. But it, you know, like I said, it's just been a crazy year and you know, there's been casualties and you know, it's been wild and for me a part of it is just like you said, I've been just trying to get back to like really just grinding content and just like kind of keeping my nose out of all that shit.
But is there part of you that thinks that the vlogs, the weekly vlogs, might not be the future of your content? Because I always like the direction you went with that because you're part of a huge podcast. So many people, their impulse is like, oh, well, I'm gonna start my own podcast. And to me, that when you have like a dope podcast where you have a bunch of hosts and the podcast is all about the energy of those people together, and then you break it off and create another podcast, inevitably there's just not going to be as much energy putting into the prime product. And I feel like you probably have some kind of business arrangement where you couldn't just go start some other podcast. But the vlogs are a great way to bring something very different in terms of content to the table. And I appreciate the way you've done that.
Thank you. And I love the vlogs, but they're a tremendous amount of work. And so basically, I always remember maybe 3 years ago, and I always remember when you said this. You said this is right when Impulsive was starting, and you said that podcast would not work without Mike. That's what you said.
Oh, I
agree.
Yeah.
But this is like verbatim.
But it took people a while to even like you in the first place because it felt kind of like, who is this new guy? We don't know him. Why is he talking more than Logan? That was a little bit. And I remember even the first time when I went on Impulsive and I met you and I was thinking like, oh, I kind of like this guy a lot, but I also am kind of like not sure if I like him because I don't know if I really like, is this guy kind of like a swindler or is he actually just like a dope ass dude from the East Coast that I feel like I went to high school with? But I pretty quickly was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I actually do like him because it's very hard for me to get over that hump of like, who the fuck is this guy when I meet somebody? You know, it's just like everything in my brain is set to like, no, I don't fuck with random new people that I'm just meeting. So it kind of took a little bit for me to get past that.
Yeah, give me these squinty eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not
He's talking about Percocets and what the fuck.
When you first got with Logan, were you his day-to-day manager? Like, what?
No, I was doing shit with him on the business side, and was also just like kind of there was this like joke or perception that I was like his babysitter. You know what I'm saying? Where I was like just making sure he didn't do fucked up shit. But I just quickly became a part of the content.
Because you said that you were kind of brought in to be a voice of reason or to be able to say no to shit and stuff. Was that partially because his star was shining so bright, especially at that time, that it was like there was nobody in the room who was willing to tell him no?
Well, yeah, it's fucked up because I classically have gotten this label of yes man, when in reality, there's never in his existence, and he'll attest to this, Manager Jeff will attest to this, anybody that's close to the camp will attest to this, there's never been a person that's been more of a no man to him than I have. 100%. I'm the only motherfucker. A lot of times, there have been others. I'll be honest, George would have good points that were based in a morally, conservative standpoint, like future facing and so on and so forth. But I'm always, he comes to me with, still not as much as he used to, but he still comes to me with creative and shit like that and certain life choices and stuff like that. And I always give him big brotherly advice. That's kind of what I was. He never had a big brother. He was always the big brother, and he got famous at a time when he was like 18 years old. But the reason why I brought up the podcast thing and what you said is not to toot a horn or like drive that into stone again. It's because I don't have that agreement on the podcast front.
Okay.
Like I can start a show tomorrow. In fact, we're at a point where I think he knows and everybody knows that if I do that, it just drives ancillary traffic back to our show.
We just hit 600,000 subscribers on the Clips channel right here. We're trying to get to 700, so you know what to do. Smack that red button and subscribe. Appreciate you.